Hello, beloveds. This time we are going to talk about Hagar. She's a woman of the Bible. She was with Sarah and Abraham during, their time of waiting on their son Isaac. And I bet you're wondering, how does she point to Jesus? Well, I hope this video gives you a little bit more insight about how she points to Jesus. Have you ever been overlooked? Have you ever been mistreated for something that was not your fault? Hagar, Sarah's Egyptian slave, knew what it was like to be overlooked and mistreated. When it seemed as if God was keeping Sarah from conceiving, Sarah took matters into her own hands and told Abraham to sleep with Hagar. Now, through the life of Hagar, we learn how God is a God who sees. Hagar may have been cast out by Sarah, but she was not cast out from the Lord's sight and care. Even when Hagar was sent away again in Genesis 21, 8 through 21, God continued to be faithful to her and her child. While God's promises to Hagar reflect his promises to Abraham, they were not the same promises. However, these promises reveal God's grace for those outside of his blessing for Israel. Hagar's story points to God's grace for all people, especially women who are overlooked and mistreated. And while God gives his common grace to all, we receive his saving grace through Christ. In Christ, we are brought into God's kingdom and into a relationship with the God who sees and hears. In our own situations of struggle and pain, we can trust that God hears and sees us. And just like he did for Hagar, we can trust that God will work through our painful situations for our good. Here's the last thing. God's grace in Hagar's life reveals how no one is outside of God's sight.